are live again. I'm Christine Bell, and I've been away for 3 weeks, and I've been missing my Snappy Chat because I always learn so much. So if you don't know me, this is all about learning and growing together. I'm not going to talk about me because this is about learning and growing together in business, because it can get really, really lonely. And sometimes all we need is just connecting with each other to understand that we go through similar challenges. And it's okay. That's part of life. It's part of business. And today I have the wonderful friend of mine, Sabina. Thank you so much for being here. You are amazing. I've known you for about 4 years, 3 years. I don't know. I've known you for a while.
Yeah,
you do some amazing work in terms of being a performance coach, vitality coach, and really making sure that we all stay healthy, because running a business without health is no good. And that's so important. Also, just generally, if you work, I think if you're in your working life and you have a career, you need it as well, because I burned out in my career. So we can talk more about that as well if you want to. But first, please introduce yourself and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so hello everybody. Christine, thank you for having me. Finally I got on. I'm so excited to be invited into this club. My name's Sabina. I have a company called Executive Edge, where I do training and consulting for performance and well-being in the workplace. I basically use a few tools that I've learned over the years, some personal, but lots of them, the majority of them, are science-backed tools to help people improve their performance and optimize their mental and physical health in order to optimize their business. And yeah.
I love that. And I just want to say hello to Royce is here. He's in America, in Arizona. He used to be one of the big hosts at one of the big radio stations there. He's amazing. If you don't know him, you got to connect with him. He's amazing. Thank you for being here, Royce. And Robert, you know Rob, he came to your networking event, because you also run networking events in Sydney every month. And Rob came with me last time. So thank you for being here.
Oh, great. God, it's fantastic to have these people. Thank you.
I know. Hopefully some more will show, but we always appreciate just one person showing up is always great. So this is so interesting what you do, because I think sometimes we put it on the side until something is wrong. You know, when it comes to our health, until actually we have some physical issues, we tend to perhaps not think about it. I know some people are well into their sports and everything else, but you can still be into sports and wellness, right? You can still be very fit and be stressed, can't you? And not 100%. Perform at your best.
100%. Yeah. I think we have this idea of wellness is that it means, if you go to the gym and you eat right, then, you tick all those boxes, you should be fine. And I see this often especially in a corporate environment, because we do all the stuff. And I think that's great that we do all those things, but it's not limited to that. And I think we need to open the conversation around, dare I say, mental health. And mental health is not about bad health. It's about keeping healthy. But I think it's much more that's what you play, and it's much more than how often you go to the gym and work out. It's about what's between your ears and your mindset and your belief system, and making sure that it works for you, not against you.
Yeah, and I love that. And I saw you did put a post out the other day, which really resonated with me when I read it. And it's not often that a post stops me in the track, because all of us are like scanning, and life is so busy, right? Yeah. Royce says hello to you. Joshua is here. Thank you for being here. Osman is here. Thank you so much for being here. But it's not often that I get stopped in my track. And you were back in the UK recently, I know, and you talked about meeting someone who was actually very, very successful in business. And you actually said, it was around success, and, it's great that you have financial success, but that's not necessarily success in life, right?
And I think that's it. We've been sold, or definitely from my era, I was, a child of the 70s, is that, but, mum and dad, it was all about, money, and success was all about how much you earn, what going to university, getting a good job, paying a mortgage, getting a few houses behind you. And that's definitely important. But I think there's so much more. The definition of success shouldn't just be about investments and how much money you have in the bank. Yeah. And I think we need, again, definition of success is very individual, but I think a lot of us sort of sell ourselves short by saying, oh, well, we've got a good job, and we've got we've got the 2.4 kids, and we've got, a bit of a housing profile and all this and blah, 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 blah. But are we happy? Are we actually at peace? Or are we just like running around like a headless chicken? And I think that's more about success. I know that, like that person I spoke to about in the UK, is you can have a lot of money, but if you're not actually content, then really, maybe we need to redefine success, I think.
Yeah. And I think you're so right about that, because I was just telling you before we got on here that I'm feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit uncertain in my business. And I've been in business for 10 years, and there's this level of sort of like, what's going on? And it's causing some stress. And it's actually, I can tell it's a mindset thing to some extent, right? And I can also tell it's actually impacting my performance. As in, I'm suddenly going, that little insecurity is coming back up, and I don't have much of it anymore. I've been on a self-development journey for 10 years. So I have switched a lot in terms of how I think and how I behave and how I do my life, and finding inner peace more than looking for external validation of my success. But it still comes up sometimes. And I think that's possibly the case for a lot of people, even if they are very fit in all these things, that sense of every once in a while we can be doing well for a while, and we're performing and we're pushing ahead and we're working hard. And suddenly it's like, is this life? Is this what it's meant to be like? And you're feeling stress, both physical, but also a little bit internally, mentally, I think, stress, right? Have you had those feelings as well?
Oh, 100%. I think especially your own business, right? It's a roller coaster of emotions. You're just constantly going, then you're pulling back, then you go in, then you're pulling back. And I think and that's sort of as well, that it's sort of important to take some reflection and take stock and use that stress as a bit of a coach, really, just to say, okay, so why am I stressed? Look at why. And break it down. And we're so busy, but even just journaling or speaking to a coach, or just having a conversation with yourself about actually, why is it that I'm stressed? Why is it feeling like that? But also, I think what's really important, Christine, is recognizing or celebrating our wins as well. Like, we are so focused on, we've got to do this, we've got to do this, we've got to do this. We forget to look back and see how far we've come.
Yes, I think that's so true in all areas of life sometimes, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's a loss, it's sort of stolen from us. That gift that we've been given is stolen, because I was actually thinking about parenthood today. The kids, I always thought about sort of stress. I didn't think about what I've achieved. And there's so many areas of life like that we have. We need to remember where we've come, what we've achieved as well as the stress.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And Jackie is here. So great to see you. She's saying hello to you as well. I think that's so right. Is we are always, whether we are in a big job or any job, or whether we are without a job even, I guess, or in a business, there's this level always pushing forward. I got to reach this. I got to get there. I got to get there. And I guess you're a performance coach. So part of it is actually around, achieving something. But I think there's more to it from what you just said. There's a lot more to around performance coaching, isn't there?
Well, I think, performance coaching, people think, oh, okay, it's all about doing stuff. It's all about action, taking action, doing the breath work, eating right, blah, 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 blah. We forget as well that it's actually about slowing down and reflecting and, doing those things as well. Because just like a computer, it needs to turn off. And a lot of the time we're thinking about go, 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 go. We forget that we actually need to reset the system. Our gut, our brain, we need to have, adequate sleep. We need to make sure that we've got a morning routine, and I'm huge on morning routines, that isn't filled with stress. So it's not about necessarily just doing more. Sometimes it's actually about doing things smarter. And that's how I like to, your body works on different rhythms. And the best way you can do, or the smartest way you can do it, is work with those rhythms, so that you sort of recognize when you're in flow, recognize when your stress levels are really sensitive, and then work with that, and then create your day. But a lot of people, because we're so in this moment, we forget to actually take time to actually slow down and actually listen to where, how can we get more book for our time, kind of thing.
I love that. And I think that's possibly also for kids these days, right? We wake up with the phone, we're straight on the phone, which can be stressful in its own right, because then we're in the doing mode again and in an external world rather than paying attention to the internal world. So it's almost like a excuse not to pay attention inside, right? And we both grew up in the 70s, but I didn't realize you were there too, a 70 baby. Back then, and some of the people here, I'm not putting your age out there. I'm imagining some of you also knows what we're talking about now in the 70s and early 80s. We couldn't just turn on a computer. We were like sent out to play, right? We were outside doing things, and nighttime wasn't filled with computer games or TV or much of that. It was much more around maybe reading a story or doing something else before I fell asleep, which was possibly a lot healthier because it allows us to be much more with ourselves. And I think part of performance, when we are doing, we leave ourselves behind. Is that what you're talking about? I think that's what you're talking about.
100%. I think performance is not just an outside job, it's an inside job too, right? And we have to remember that too. Absolutely, yeah. Especially in the morning, I think a lot of people are go. They forget to actually check in on themselves. Where a lot of people get stressed, and it's something that can easily be prevented.
Yeah. So from what I'm hearing, it's all around coming back into ourselves, right? In terms of working smarter, in terms of connecting with who we really are. And what I found, I don't know about you, I found when I get into that little stress mode, when I feel lost, it's usually because I have lost my alignment internally a little bit.
Yeah. And sometimes we just forget to check in, or we haven't made the space or time to check in. Like, what is it actually we're striving for? I think business is one of those things. Like, I know some business owners that they're doing, and then they wake up and they're like just in the doing so much, but they've forgotten actually why they started. It was for freedom, and it was for all those things that they wanted to have. They've lost all that. And even just taking a bit of a step and asking myself, okay, is this what I actually wanted? Because we all get caught up in the rat race, and just sort of taking a bit of a breather and pausing. Yeah. Sounds very lovely, but it's very important.
It's very important, and actually not as easy done as said. I think sometimes because it requires us to change internally and actually get into a place where we're not working from a place of lack, because lack will drive us to do more and more and more in the external. When in fact, I believe, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, is that once we get to know ourselves better and we feel enough in who we are and we feel valuable as we are without the doing, that's when we can start potentially changing some of it. And I think I will also say, if you're listening and you are in a full-time job, if you're in a job that you don't love, but you think you need to stick there and stay there to be successful or make ends meet, etc., that's where we can get more and more lost too, I think, in ourselves, and do a lot, but not really tap into true performance and smart ways of performing, right?
And that's it. Performance is not just about getting stuff done at work and ticking the boxes. It's about actually how we show up. If someone's showing up and they're stressed and they're overworked, and so I think we have to think a little bit differently too. It's not about just, and again, it goes back to that definition of success. What is a definition of success and of performance? It's being able to switch off, have time with your kids and be present, or whatever it is that you might want to do, but doing the stuff you like, not just the stuff that you have to do.
Yeah. And not, we could also make time for our kids or horse riding or whatever it is.
Horse riding.
And still feel stressed, right? Because it's back, you can, like, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to. I'm taking time for my kids. But if you're not enjoying it and actually being in the moment, then you're just going through the motions of things again we need to do. Musi is here. Thank you so much for being here. Victor is here from Tokyo Design. Victor, I'm just talking Sabina into joining us in our community. I think you love her. And Robert is saying, I tend to regulate my work hours 8:30 to 4:30 probably, and no work on the weekends, which is great. We set some boundaries. I think that's a good place to start, right?
I think boundaries as well, as they've been so lost, especially in the last, especially after COVID, but even before that, they were getting lost because we have phones and we have, our email, we have our computer at home. But setting boundaries, I think, is so important. And, that's just, I think if you do that, you're halfway there already. Because our brain, and you know this, Christine, as well, is our brain responds to, it wants to do one thing at a time. And if we are we're trying to do our work at the time when we're meant to be going to bed, it's not focused on sleep, it's focused on doing work. And then we have trouble sleeping, and then we're wondering why. Our body loves boundaries. Our body loves to know exactly what to do in what time. And I think, was it Roger who mentioned that about boundaries? But having boundaries, I think, is key to having that kind of control over your life.
Yeah, so that's another thing. And Victor is just saying internal change sometimes requires a momental environmental shift. Sometimes it's quitting a job, a client, and a mortgage or rental contract.
100%. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think we forget about environment where we're getting, 11,000 bits of information per second or per minute. And we've got all these pieces of information being sent to us in our environment. Clear that out, and then we can just see what it is that we need.
Yeah. And is it also, when you clients, very much about getting back to them, because it's personal to each person, and how do we make those internal shifts?
I think actually writing down what it is you want and writing down a vision, as fluffy as that sounds, is, I think, I read the book, 7 Habits of Effective People, 7 Habits of Effective Families. Just having a vision, having an idea, a vision for your family, what you actually want, a vision for your life, so that once you've got that, then you can start to, reverse engineer it and make some really crucial steps to how you get there. And it's much easier than what you think, but it starts by actually getting really clear on what the vision is.
Yeah, I actually got a really clear vision, and I'm right now, my bit of my stress is that I don't feel I'm not moving forward towards it. Like, it's a big dream that I have. I can see it, I can feel it, I can taste it almost, and I'm kind of like, I'm not moving. I don't feel like, maybe I am, but sometimes the universe has a funny way of getting us there. But when you're like, I don't feel like, I can't see myself how I'm getting there right now.
But I suppose maybe what's coming up is these this conversation even is like it's causing you, or it's forcing you to question what it is you really want, and it's forcing you to actually question your daily life or whatever it is. And because of that, it's sort of giving you a bit of it's forcing you to actually take stock and see this is what you want.
That's such good advice, I think, because often, when we think, oh, I just need to change X, Y, Z, but sometimes we actually have to be stopped in our track to go, okay, I really want, I can see where I want to go. I can see my vision, which is to have actually, I want an animal sanctuary. I'll be honest with you guys out here.
It doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me at all. I thought you were going to say something like that, actually. I thought it was going to be equestrian centre, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I love definitely horses and dogs, maybe some more stuff, but that's what I want, and I want it in Hawaii.
Wow,
with my husband. And I'm like, how do I do that? But that's a whole nother conversation, right? But it's like, I can see what it looks like. I can feel what it would be like, how my life would be. I'll still be busy, of course, but it's just making money for it, right? Figuring out, how do I create an income that's passive and doing that long term. So that's kind of like my big vision, creating a passive income to some extent, or an income that will support me. Maybe I'm too focused on specific, but it's coming back to actually feeling those feelings internally, and maybe going to your point, how do I change how I feel internally first before I start creating anything?
Maybe you already feel internally ready. I mean, we're never ever ready, are we? To jump. Maybe you're halfway there. I mean, you're voicing it, right? It's been in your mind for a while, and maybe we need to brainstorm some ideas as to get there. I think it's much easier now than it's ever been to earn an online income, right? Passive income.
But I think,
sorry.
I was going to say, I think I speak for a lot. I was just using myself as an example. I think that's that thing of, we have these, maybe we're not always clear on the vision. So that's definitely a great place to start. Like you said, let's get clear on the vision and feel into it. And then we got to wrestle with ourselves internally. So now the internal is being asked to step up as well, right? In terms of owning it, in terms of believing we're worthy of it. And then really working from there in terms of starting to already feel less stressed right now in this moment and start performing at our best in a different way that's smarter, isn't it? And that's the wrestle, because it's different to what I'm normally doing.
Yeah, but visiting it every day as well. I mean, in the morning, especially in the morning when you first wake up, so you've got that hypnotic zone, the alpha zone, and revisiting and it's amazing once you revisit that and then meditate what comes up, because things do start, sort of the universe does start to align.
But it also comes back to how we perform, because I'm coming from a place where I had a low self-esteem for a long time, and that would make me work harder, right? Like, it was always about proving to myself, to the outer world, that I was good enough to work harder. And then sometimes people would recognize me. Most of the time they might take credit for some stuff or whatever else happened. Things happen that we bring along with that kind of mindset, right?
It's interesting, isn't it, how we're always trying to please others, and it's at the cost of pleasing ourselves sometimes. Quite often we're trying to do all the things that everybody else wants, but at the cost of actually deserting ourselves. And I think a lot of pain comes from that, because especially, like I said, in the morning, right? People get up in the morning and they automatically start looking to serve others, to serve all the kids or the horses or the dogs, or it might be work, right? And it's sending a clear message to your brain that I'm actually not that important. You're the priority, right? You should be serving yourself before you serve everybody else. But a lot of us, we put everything, business, before us. And even if we don't speak it, we do by our actions. And that's sort of, looking at our phone, starting to look at what we need to do for the day, rather than actually just sort of sitting with ourselves and, doing whatever it is that makes us happy.
It's so important. And yet, you see on LinkedIn as well and everywhere, everyone can talk about filling your own cup first, and if you're in a plane, you got to put the mask on first. We kind of know it, right? But do we actually do it, to your point? And I think you're so right in what you're saying is I can talk this, but if I'm deserting myself in the morning by literally thinking about what I need to X, Y, Z I need to do to serve others, then my action are actually speaking louder than my desire, right?
No, 100%. And I think as well, as, I mean, for me, my greatest thing is that sort of that big life change was when I became a parent, because that's it. They copy what I do. So now, just not checking my phone before bed, not looking at my phone, not having my phone in the bedroom, all those kinds of things, because they're going to model it. So for parents, if you can even use that as a motivating factor, that even if you really can't be bothered to do it for yourself, or it feels painful doing it for yourself, to shift your routine, then shift it for kids. And that sort of that mind shift helps. It's helped me a lot, and maybe it helps other parents too.
And I think you're absolutely right. It's around, hello, I think H. Marcelo, great to see you here. I think you're so right. It's this thing about actually really changing our habits, right? And that, I guess, is for you as a performance coach, I imagine that's what you have to work on a lot with your clients, is changing very ingrained habits that we don't always think about, because we have automated it so much that it's just what we do.
And I think a lot of it, like before this, I used to work a lot in food. I'm a nutritionist as well. And it's about updating our habits, right? Because many of the habits that we formed we developed them when we were 13, 18, 21. fast track to 50, we've got hugely different goals, but we're still using the same software.
Yes.
So we haven't actually updated things. And it's the same. I talk about things like food doing that, but it's the same with everything else, is we haven't updated our habits. Just having a bit of an audit or a check of what habits are serving us and what are not. If anybody wants to download, I can send it to you. But it's just about basically just taking stock of your habits, and what are they serving you? Are they actually getting you close to your goals, or getting you further away? And a lot of us, it's quite scary when we think that some of the habits, we have had for decades. And our goals are extremely different from when they were at 18, but we still carry the same habits. And that's really powerful if you can just take a few tweaks, it can be really, really helpful.
And that's the thing is, we can all on a good day kind of change, and today I'm going to do a bit of exercise, or today I'm going to eat healthy, right? But that's not changing a habit. That's just us trying it on a little bit, but we've got to get to the deeper part, which I know is what you can help people with, right? In terms of going deeper, in terms of really making those habits, updating them to fitting our software and permanently more.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of really easy change you can do with your habits. So I'm not a neuroscientist or psychologist, but I'm sure they would agree with me, is that, you've got all these neural pathways already being formed from certain habits. You just need to replace the reward at the end. So use what you have already. So for example, people get up in the morning and the first thing they see is a kettle and they make coffee. Use that and just replace the reward with water. It's just something really simple. Start really small, tiny goals. If it's something that you want, look at what you want and just say 3 things you can do today or this week. Just tiny goals that you can make that will actually get you a little bit more forward. And you can, but I mean, some habits are ingrained a bit harder than that. But if it's easy to see, we're much more likely to do it. We're much more likely to pay attention.
Yeah. So start small and keep going, right? Instead of putting ourselves up for failure.
Yeah, I think the best, I'm sure you've read the same book, Atomic Habits, James Clear, I remember the British cycling team. Do you remember that? And they never won this competition. But what he did is he made 1% changes in everything. And they won sort of 7 or 8 years continuously because of these just small accumulative habits that we make. And that's something that I stress, we can make. And once you do that, then it affirms that you can make changes. Because we're so busy telling ourselves, oh, well, I can't go to the gym, or I can't do this. I've never been able to do this. Never been able to do that. Once it changes, then your mindset and how you think, oh, well, if I can do that, then I can try this. I can do this. I can do this. Yeah. We can all change.
And I think we can apply that to every part of our life, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. Now we're going to finish up now, but I do know you have an amazing offer. And by the way, we have Tracy from Houston. Thank you for being here as well. You have an amazing offer you want to share about yourself and your offer to people who are listening in, whether now or later.
Yes, I have a program called the Body Performance Blueprint, but I'm doing a 5-day challenge for free. So if anybody would be interested, then please hit me up. And we also have a free performance audit. So I'm looking at where it is that your energy is leaking, where it is that your stress is leaking, and how we can make some really quick wins. For any of your audience, it's complimentary.
Wonderful. And I might take you up on that as well, because I could possibly use it. Definitely I could use it too. I just have one question for Musi. He's got one question for you. He's in America. What is the greatest achievement you're proud to share throughout your career journey? And you need to leave an important mark on your audience. Sincerely and respectfully, Musi.
Okay. Oh gosh, you can tell how good he is, right, with his questions. He's obviously a professional. I think probably. Sorry?
You go.
Do you have an answer for yours? What's yours?
Well, I was going to say, actually, funny enough, a proudest moment with me when I finally walked out of a toxic work environment and I had no clue what I was going to do next. I just knew that that wasn't going to work and I couldn't say yes to another job. I actually thought, I need time for me. I need to take care of me now.
That's really good. Mine's not as powerful as that.
Don't worry, we're not comparing.
I think it's just consistency. No matter what, you know, like COVID, things, financial issues, health issues, whatever, I've never given up. So it's not been a distinct moment for sure. But I think just actually keeping on going, even when the going gets tough. I have like a toolkit of things that I do to just push me through. And no matter what shows up, I know that I'll fix it. I know that I can get through it, and I know that I can come out stronger. So it's that mindset, I think, that's but great question.
But that's huge. That's a huge thing. And you know what? Back on that, what you just said, to back that up, what you just said, because I agree. For the last couple of weeks, I've been in a mode where I'm like, especially the last week, I've been like waking up going, I don't know what I want to do anymore. I'm not sure. I've actually been going through this whole sort of like, do I have to get on and do anything on LinkedIn? Do I have to go on social media? Do I have to? And I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I've got, I kept going. I'm like, I can do it. I might not do as much, but I can still do something. So I will make sure I do it even when I don't want to. I just feel like I can't do anymore.
But I think you're serving a lot of people with what you do and this. So even whatever comes of it, this is such a nice community that you've created, and to have such an audience. So thank you anyway.
Well, thank you for being here. And I will be honest, for the last 3 weeks, I was kind of like, I don't know if I feel like it anymore, but I do love it. And it's so great to be back again doing it. So finding something we love doing, whether it pays it or not, is a really good booster, I think, in terms of carrying on when things get tough, or we start questioning ourselves, or we feel stressed. It's like, what are the parts I really love? Do more of that and just keep doing that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. We're 2 minutes over, so we'll finish now. Feel free, please, I would say, you definitely want to reach out to Sabina, and you want to make sure you get onto her 5-day challenge, because I think most of us have thought about performance often as just something we do externally, and it's just doing it harder and more. And if we are eating well and performing well in terms of exercise, we're all good, right? But that's not true. Well, that's part of health, but it's not everything. It's definitely the mindset. And it's definitely understanding ourselves and putting ourselves first, as you said, and really paying attention to when we are not doing it, which probably is more of us than we realize.
Yeah. No, I'll put the link down below as well. So everyone, if anyone, or just reach out if you've got any questions.
Yeah. And the link here is you can reach out and connect with Sabina as well here. So please doing that. And thank you. Musi says, keep shining, both of you. Thank you. Robert says, thank you for a great Snappy Chat. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much to you, my wonderful friend. And Jackie loves us, so thank you. So thank you so much.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you.
And I'm going to find the in-stream